Hey, hi Arpita. Hi Amit. Thank you both for joining in. So
Hi
we
Ronak.
just
Hi Amit.
hello.
Hi Ronak, hi Arpita.
So Amit, why don't you introduce yourself? Let's get started. And then Arpita will introduce, I'll introduce, and then we'll also look at who all have joined us and then talk to everyone.
Yeah, thanks Ronak. Hey, hi everyone. I'm Amit Anand, Senior Analyst at Everest Group and part of Technology Skills and Talent Practice. And I track some of the broader talent market trends and future of work related theme, including adoption of Gen AI impact on their impact on workforce and a skill based workforce development and management and integrating Gen Z at the workplace. And I also track talent management and development practices of the leading organization and help them with creating an organization-wide future of work strategy.
Wow, awesome. Arpita,
Yeah. Hi everyone. This is Arpita. I'm a practice director with the firm. I lead the technology skills and talent research within Everest Group. We help enterprises and IT service providers to build the next gen ready workforce. Over to you, Ronak.
thank you. And quick introduction about myself. I'm Ronak Doshi. I'm a partner with Everest Group and I co-lead our technology services research. And again, I'm so excited, all of us have come together to talk about this, such an important topic. And what happens is, as analysts, we all have this that one thing that we are really proud of, or something that really is kind of a kind of a big landmark as a analyst. And this is, I think, one of that for me. I think talent as an issue from an IT services perspective, was something that we used to always talk about, but it used to be one of the many things you're trying to solve for, and it was never very forefront. And this is 2018. We built this hypothesis around talent demand supply mismatch and saying that we're going to have a time where demand is going to be so high and supply is not going to meet specifically from an IT services and next gen IT talent perspective. And that's where I realized this is one space which needs attention and the ecosystem needs to get ready. And we devised industry's first ever next gen IT talent readiness assessment of service providers. We released the assessment in 2019. And here we are, wrapping up the second iteration of this assessment. And it's been such an overwhelming response from all the leading service providers who've kind of given a lot of effort. So I truly want to appreciate all of them for all their work in making this a success. And here we are to talk about how to thrive and survive in this competitive IT talent market. So again, really excited to have all of you with us. And before we get started, I do want to know where everyone is joining us from. So please do put it in the comment in terms of where are you joining us from, anything that you're expecting. So please do let us know where are you here from. And I see already a comment. Kiara is joining us from Philly. Thank you, Kiara, for joining. We are really excited for this conversation. Would love to know where all everybody else is joining in from. And as people kind of comment and talk about where they're joining from, how are they doing, I do want to share like a very quick anecdote, right? So I was speaking with the CEO of Hyster Yales. They make forklifts, and I was speaking to them at an analyst event yesterday. So he was talking about the history of forklifts and forklift operators. He said, if you look at 30 years back, and there used to be these large manufacturing hubs and warehouses, there used to be a huge queue of people who wanted to operate a forklift and wanted to join out there. And you were have to ask them a lot of questions about their skills, can they do this, their proficiencies and other things. And if you look at today's market, there is no queue outside these warehouses and manufacturing hubs to find the talent to do forklift operations. And it's become so hard to find the talent out there that it's it's like you have to go out and hunt people to kind of operate forklifts, right? So that's how the world has changed. And that's why I look at like talent is not not just an issue from an IT perspective. Yes, it is much more pronounced here, but as I, hear people in the other industries, talent is that big issue that we see. And I see more people joining us, so that's amazing. So Devesh has joined us from UK. Thank you for joining us. Naga has joined us from Canada. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we have good attendance, coming our way, and thank you all for joining. Really excited to kind of talk to all of you. So Amit, I think our focus was we wanted to talk about the finding from our next gen talent readiness assessment. So would be, I think, really helpful to understand from you um, a little bit of the context, right? Again, what was the scope of the assessment? Where did we start with it? And then we will, keep the interaction going on. So why don't you start with that?
Sure, Ronak. So the aim of the assessment was to evaluate service provider capabilities, initiatives, spanning across workforce management strategy, people strategy, and workforce optimization lever. Like how they utilize all these things to build a differentiated talent pool to deliver next generation IT services. So we have assessed service provider on three pillars. So, starting with the first one, workforce management strategy, it include overarching a strategic part of workforce planning, and where we have assessed service provider ability uh, to have a skill visibility across the organization, how they are building the skill taxonomy, tracking, and updating their skill inventories, and then how they are doing the demand supply forecasting in the challenging time. We have assessed how they are predicting demand supply gap internally, what kind of AI based model they have built, and how they are collaborating internally across the BU for this. And second pillar was people strategy, where we have assessed service provider capability across talent value chain, which include talent attraction, acquisition, learning and development, engagement, and retention. So, what kind of initiative they have taken across the talent value chain? What kind of traditional, non-traditional channel they are using to attract and acquire talent, and very important, how they are embedding the themes like personalization, mobility, flexibility in the learning and development aspect, how they are bridging the gap between theoretical and experience based learning to ensure the project readiness. And the third important pillar was workforce optimization lever. So it was around how they are using technology and partnerships to optimize talent value chain, and how they are using analytics to build data driven workforce management and developmental strategy across the organization. And eventually it we have also assessed how these things are getting translated into value, how these things, how they are able to give value to the enterprise. So whether these things are getting reflected in terms of technical expertise, domain expertise or not, and whether they are able to avail the quality talent to the enterprise for consistently.
Okay, no, that's interesting. And again, I think I like the framework out here because we talk about the critical issues that are facing the IT services industry when it comes to talent, which is talent shortage, wage inflation. How do we get to this work model from a future of work, hybrid work? How do I get the right people, right mix there? And then you attract them, retain them, you keep training, you keep having internal mobility, and then drive the skill development and the next stages to it. So how do you do all of that and drive the outcomes on that is something that we're looking for. And Arpita, on this one question that I had for you as well is, we talk about this next gen IT. Can you talk about what do we mean by next gen, next generation IT and IT talent out there?
So yeah, definitely, Ronak. I understand that there's a lot of jargon out there. So for the benefit of our audience, I'd like to elaborate on our definition of next generation technologies. So these are the technologies that service providers are implementing to help transform their client organizations into digital enterprises, right? And enable them to stay competitive in this digital age. And these technologies could be anything from AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, cloud native application development, among others. So, just for audience benefit, I thought, yes, let's get the
No,
next gen definition out there.
no, thank you for doing that. And for all of us who are joining us, I do want to ask you a question, right? So we have a fun little question for all of you, and we wanted to understand what's been your experience when it comes to talent, right? Specifically this talent scramble, and from a tech talent perspective, how would you describe your experience? And we thought, given we're talking about talent retention, and how do we engage the next generation, Amit suggested let's do this by using emoticons. So you have five of these to select, right? So the first one, which is the scared one, which is the overwhelming one. So this is where you are struggling and this is stressful to build and manage talent. So we would want to know, is that the case where you are in currently, or it's a lot of work and it's challenging, or are you adaptable and satisfied, or you are cruising through, right, or manageable, or it's like effortless the way Amit makes everything for us, right? Is it like a cakewalk for you? You didn't have to manage. So let's see from a the emoticons perspective, which of these, where are you in terms of the journey, right? Is it overwhelming, challenging, adaptable, manageable, effortless? We would love to hear your views in your experience in navigating the tech talent scramble. And I see some comments, and I see Derek, he's joining us from Seattle. Hi, Derek. Thank you for joining us. So Kiara is saying it's like adaptable for us, her. Okay, good. So Sandra is saying it's manageable. Okay, good. So we are getting positive responses so far. Anybody who's finding it challenging, finding it overwhelming in terms of the talent scramble? Okay, Devesh is also saying it's manageable, which is good. I think that's a positive news that the talent scramble is something that folks are able to manage well.
Happily surprised to see this.
Yeah, happily surprised to see this. Esther is also saying it is adaptable. That's good. And and Arpita, I know as we were doing this research, we heard some horror stories. We heard some massive challenges that folks kind of fell through. So as you, what's been your experience, right? Again, as you kind of summarize, what our clients are telling us, what our enterprise is telling us, as they see the talent scramble here.
Definitely, Ronak. And I think let me take it from the observation that we had based on our research itself. So, in our study, we observed that although organization level attrition rates for tech talent, specifically if I talk about service providers, although organization level attrition rates are under control and there's obviously a happy sentiment around it, the demand supply gap and hence the attrition rate for next generation technologies remains significantly high. And there is significantly high attrition rate for these skills, as high as for example 25% in data and technologies such as data and analytics, cybersecurity. And the underlying reason behind this trend is that technology advancements are significantly outpacing the skill development efforts, impacting the supply of these skills. And we're only expecting this to exacerbate in the coming quarters. Now, to tackle this phenomena, there's a shift in mindset that is happening from relying excessively on buying capabilities to building capabilities in house. And of course, we'll talk in a lot more detail on how organizations are making this approach a reality. But the net of it is that success of any IT service provider or a tech team in an enterprise will depend a lot on its ability to build a best in class learning and development model to build a sustainable talent supply.
No, again, thank you, Arpita, for sharing this. And I also saw some more responses come in as you were speaking, so I was kind of looking at those as well. I know Naga was saying that it's adaptable and it's not an easy job to get talent, right? So we need to be adaptable to the market changes to hire the right talent, and I completely agree. I think this is where the adaptability and flexibility of the model becomes important, right? We've seen attrition be a big challenge, but now it's not just about attrition, but it's about we have certain pockets of skills where we have lower demand but more supply, right? So we have more people with those skills. So you have a demand supply gap, which is something different, right? You're kind of flipping the switch there. And then there's other spectrum where we've seen the demand kind of outpaces significantly with the supply. So you have people, but you don't have the people with the right skills in the right place, in the right locations. And how do you address that? How do you manage that becomes the challenge. And I think we've kept hearing about this, right? Which is we want to build a future ready workforce. We want to build a digital ready workforce. We want to talk about it being agile, flexible. We want it to be, motivated. We want it to have productive. I think that's the conversation that we are having, right? So I think you've seen all of these jargons, you've seen all of this coming up way, but I think the fundamentals behind it, yes, we need to be adaptable. I think I like the word Naga. Thank you for sharing that with us. Um, so as we kind of take the conversation forward, right? So Arpita, you mentioned around the attrition issues, the project readiness, and also this mindset shift, right? Which is how do you build the talent? How do you kind of create that sustainability in your talent pool? Not just from a where do you source it from, but also how do you manage it, run it, grow it, cultivate it, or nurture it, right? I think that's the word that I always look for as we think about that. And Amit, I did want to ask you also this question, right? So you assessed a series of these IT service providers, right? The leading IT service providers in the market, and these firms are investing significantly in talent acquisition, talent attraction, and I understand, it's about how do you hire these right resources with the right skills, with the right experience that can meet the business requirement, client requirement. But at the same time, they're also hiring a lot of fresh graduates, talent from the market, right? So I just wanted to get your perspectives, right? What are the best practices that you have seen that service providers have demonstrated out here?
Yeah, Ronak. So thanks for asking. There are, I would like to highlight three key strategy. So the first one is shift from hire, train, and deploy model to train, hire, and deploy model to acquire fresh talent. So first of all, I would like to highlight why this shift has happened. So as Arpita already told about the shift in mindset from buy to build mindset. That's why organization are pivoting towards train, hire, and deploy model, specifically for fresh talent, because they have witnessed a lot of issue around project readiness, client readiness in the fresh talent. And when you see before COVID and post COVID, there was a remarkable jump in terms of freshers hiring. In one quarter only, they were service provider were hiring more than 50,000 resources. So when you increase the quantity, there ultimately quality will take a hit. That's why they observed there was decrease in the project readiness. So they have started strengthening their ties with the institutions. They have started training students in third year or final year um, of their courses, and also helping service provider, also helping institutions to update their curriculum very swiftly, very frequently, as per industry need. And also they have started certification courses for these fresh talent, and this has eventually helped them a lot. And as an organization, they were able to reduce the deployment time of the fresher and also enhance the talent quality of the talent pool. And second strategy I would like to highlight, which I think a lot of people know, but I think it's very important to highlight this, is
And uh, I think Amit, we lost you in the between. But Arpita, while we wait for Amit to come back, and I know this slide is up, so I do want to ask you a little bit about this one, right? So we assess the leading IT service providers in this space, the peak matrix assessment, the second iteration of next generation talent readiness out here. Um, what are your views on this? And then, when Amit comes back, we'll, continue with his conversation. But, how have you seen the providers, perform? What were the key observations that you've seen out here?
Sure, Ronak. So, first of all, congratulations to all the leaders. We did a very comprehensive exercise where we collected primary information from leading global IT service providers to understand their workforce development and management strategies. I think the scope of the assessment we covered in detail in the previous slide. And as you can observe, we categorize these providers across leaders, major contenders, and aspirants categories. What critically differentiates a leader from a major contender or an aspirant is around how proactive they have been and how agile they have been in their ability to manage the talent scramble, right? How they are building, and it's not just about learning and development, it's about implementing proactiveness across your talent supply chains, be it talent acquisition and attraction, be it learning and development, be it talent retention, be it the right performance tracking exercises, right? And what these leaders are also doing is they are extensively leveraging the tech ecosystem that is available out there to get a holistic and comprehensive visibility into their workforce management and planning strategies that gets them provides them with the right ingredients to build the right strategies and also align their strategies based on the evolving market dynamics.
Yeah, and I think I also want to call out, right, as we look at the assessment, the star performers, because these are the providers who have done a lot higher investments and have realized the outcomes when it comes to their talent readiness initiatives. So they've been able to scale their learning functions, have been able to scale their hiring capabilities, and then bring the right data technology to manage it at scale, right? So I think that's something which I definitely want to call out, right? Providers like Zensar, Virtusum, LTI Mindtree, HCL, Infosys, TCS, which have done really well and kind of become a star performer, and also some of our new leaders, right, who have kind of emerged, right, Persistent Systems and EPAM, who have kind of shown scale. And again, one of the reasons I see these companies have done significantly better when it comes to revenue and growth has primarily been because of how they've invested into talent readiness. So there's a lot of credit that needs to be given into these organizations and how they're seeing that. And Amit, I know you're back, so you were talking to us about the three things, and I know we got to the second one, so would love to kind of have you continue your thought, and then we'll get back to asking Arpita a lot more questions around the assessment.
Yeah, so Ronak, so I was discussing about the second strategy, which was hackathon or competition-based acquisition strategy, and this will not just help a service provider to acquire the talent, but also help them with the branding perspective or talent attraction point of view. And also, competition-based hiring not just help you to assess the technical skill, but also help you to assess creativity, adaptability, and collaboration aspect of the talent. And also we are seeing there is a lot of the apprenticeship at onshore locations. So from data point of view, I would like to share that one of the leading service provider has hired 20% of their fresh talent from apprenticeship based hiring only. And now coming towards the third point, so we are getting a lot of query how to hire a specialized or niche talent. So good news for them, because like they are in the market, there are a lot of players emerged in the market who are specifically working towards supplying niche and a specialized talent. So I would like to call out few names like PWS Skills, B Crowd, Codeforce, Lead Code, and Masai Schools, and in US it's Rivachar. So these are the some of the organization which are dedicatedly looking for supplying niche and specialized talent to the service provider, and we are seeing a lot of service provider are collaborating with these these organization to uh, for niche and specialized talent.
Just a
And
little anecdote there, Ronak. Amit
sure.
mentioned apprenticeship program, and during our study, we had the opportunity of meeting some of the participants for one of the leaders in the peak matrix assessment. And let me for the audience elaborate on our experience. You are happily surprised with the kind of work that these individuals are bringing. So we are increasingly seeing this trend where there is lesser focus on your 4 year computer science college degree. There's more focus on what skills, what value are you bringing to the table. Do you have the right desire and aptitude to learn and deliver across the projects? And we expect this trend to continue.
Yeah, and again, the scale at which they're hiring through these hackathons, through these models, is also really good, right? So again, if you look at 3,000 to 4,000 specialized talent getting hired through these models, which means it's good, right? So there's an acquisition piece of it. But Arpita, I also think there's a build piece of it, right? Which is how do you build this talent? And there's a strong focus around L&D. And I know that's one of both of our favorite topics, right? Because we keep talking about L&D and what that ideal model should look like. So I'd want to hear from you, right? What are your views around that?
Definitely not. And yes, this is definitely my favorite topic. So when it comes to the ideal learning and development model, is it is the one that can drive a self-sustained learning within the organization. Self-sustained learning again brings me to my previous point. You have the workforce with the desire and the aptitude to learn. These are highly motivated self-starters. B, a model that seamlessly aligns the learning journeys to the market dynamics, which is about accurately predicting short, mid, long term technology trends and client expectations, and to make availability of right talent, right place at the right time, and at an optimum price a reality for organizations, right? And based on our research and our market observations, skill based workforce management forms the foundation of such an learning and development model, which is this North Star sustainable L&D model. Because having that right skill focused foundation provides the organizations and workforce planning teams a clear visibility into the demand and supply of skills. It also helps them better calibrate their investment priorities and sourcing decisions. And skill based workforce management model, it's not just about having a standardized skills taxonomy. It's also about having that comprehensive skill clusters and identifying those right adjacencies that can help you enable personalized non-linear career pathways based on the skills that you currently have within your organization, so that you're able to align them efficiently to industry demand and also to the career aspirations of your employees. And this personalized career pathway hence enhances employee satisfaction, as well as it helps build a sustainable learning culture within the organization.
Yeah. And I think would also want to hear from everyone who's joining us, right? Whereas as they think about their own L&D models, how is that aligning to the employee's need as well as the business need at the same time, right? Are you able to operate at the rate where you're able to manage both, which is helping people grow their careers, getting them to do the work and build the skills that they want to, get to a compensation where they feel it's fair, and then get to a work model or a way of work model where it is flexible. Right? Are you seeing that employee needs being met while having the right talent that the organization needs, which is I need to have the right skills, I need to have it in the right roles so that it's a configuration of skills, because it's not just about one skill. We are all talking about T-shape, pie, comb, and all of those. So it's the role, and then it's in the right location so that I can use the person for the job that we need, and it has to be in the at the right cost to do it, right, for the organization. So it should be eventually profitable for them to run the business. How have folks seen it, right? Are you seeing this to be an area where you are driving both the needs of employees and organizations? And I see a comment coming in. I do want to read that out, right? Because you see Esther talk about in the past year, we've been bringing our L&D function much closer to the front lines to support just-in-time training and building an adaptable workforce. And and this is it, this is so hard to do, right? Because you need to have a view on what skills do you have, where do you have them, what are they using, and then at the same time understand what the business needs and map the two together in real time. And again, if you're able to do this in real time, that is amazing, right? That's like really leading in the industry, because we've seen, as we are kind of thinking about it, it becomes so harder, right? Because as you scale, you realize that the combination of the skills that you need increases, in the roles that you need increases, and then trying to be able to do that real time, it is hard, right? Moving people around projects, moving them from one pieces to the other. So again, thank you for sharing that. And again, you added more clarity for us also, right? Because that you have this culture that is also around curiosity, encouraging empowerment of employees. I think this is fantastic, right? Again, thank you for sharing this with us, because we do believe the L&D piece is as much as technology, having the right skills, data, learning courses, and other pieces, but also having the right culture that people feel empowered to invest in their own growth, want to learn more, right? Want to contribute more, and then have a personal growth, professional growth as they see it. So thank you for sharing this, and thank you, Arpita. I think kind of bringing that model. I like the two by two, the way it has come together, because it allows us to kind of have that conversation around what that model is, and it's not just an employee-facing view, but an organization, business-facing view as well. And Amit, you've been kind of assessing, organizations, right? They are L&D model. So do talk to us about, right? And how are organizations doing it? How are they kind of bringing the elements of this L&D ecosystem together to kind of drive that, right? So what are the advantages here? What's the ecosystem looking like?
So Ronak, when talk about L&D ecosystem, so there are basically four elements to the L&D ecosystem. The first one is the model or the principle of the L&D model. That is something Arpita has already talked about, the sustainable L&D model. Then the second piece is learning and development journey. How you build the learning and development journey from capturing aspiration of the employee to helping them to mobilize internally. And then the third one is technology and partnerships. So across the learning and development journey, what kind of technology, what kind of partnerships you have to help employees to complete their learning journey, give them the experience during their learning and development journey. And the last one is the academies, the technical academies, domain academies, which are dedicatedly working towards building contents for all the L&D pieces. So I would like to deep dive on the learning and development journey aspect. So in learning and development journey, there are like 5 6 key elements. So the first one is during the learning and development journey, how do you create the personalization aspect? So that is something we have talked and we focus a lot on this. How do you align the aspiration of employee with the organization need? And the second one is career journey. So or the learning journey. So Ronak has already introduced the topic like the T-shaped, pie-shaped, and comb-shaped model. So, what learning journey should organization adopt? What learning journey should you give to your employees? So, basically, what we are seeing in the market that service provider are moving to from T-based learning journeys to comb-shaped learning journey. And when I talk about major reason behind this, the one of the key reason I am able to recall is like shortening half-life of a skill. You just can't tell your employee to just specialize in the one skill because you never know when it get redundant or because there is a lot of uncertainty in the market. So what we are seeing that people are moving from T to COM shape uh, learning model, from where they are asking employees to have a specialization in at least two technologies. It can be software development. It can be data related career pathway. It can be cloud related pathway. So it will help employees also to manage their risk, so and help them to continuously get skilled and grow in the career. And also when we say comp shaped learning journey, the third one, like you, they are providing three learning journey in the comp shape. One is the technical, then second one is the product based or project based program management, a specific learning journey, and third one is like DevOps or agile learning journey. So this is around the learning journey and career pathways. And uh, now coming towards the another aspect of the L&D journey, it is mentorship. Mentorship is something which a lot of service providers have started focusing a lot in last 2 3 years. So when I talk about the importance of mentorship, so it is very much important in the 5 6 year back, when there is no information about there was very limited information about these IT specific skilling and career pathways. And now also mentorship is important because there is a lot of information in the market. It's very easy for employee to get lost in these information. So you need a dedicated person who can help them to with their learning and career journey, throughout the learning and career journey. And talking about the another piece of learning and development journey, how how you can increase the project readiness of the employee. So we are saying a lot of most of the service provider have linked the learning journey with the capstone projects, hackathon competitions, and also they have built internal gig workforce or internal gig platforms where they keep on rolling live projects for their employee. So it helps employees to gain the experience, live experience, or in the learning journey.
Yeah. So I think it's such a beautifully put thing, right, Amit? So one is the skills taxonomy. So you need to know what are the skills that are currently needed, what are the skills that would be needed for the future, and also know what are the skills that are getting obsolete, right? Your point on half-life of skills, it's so important because we were doing some research. We said, if you look at a skill like Java, for it to reach half life, it took like almost 25 years. But something of, we're talking about some big data Hadoop skills, those reached half life in like what, 4 years? And we're looking at some, blockchain skills and others, those were like 3 years, right? So the rate at which the skills become obsolete, when it's specifically it's next generation skills, we've seen that to be getting obsolete faster, right? So the one piece is knowing what business needs in terms of the skills. What do I have? What configuration do I have? And then how do I build the pathway to get there? And then how do I enable elements like learning, internal talent mobility, and the journey mapping piece is becoming very important. And I think you talked about the role definition. I think the role definition is important. I think I was having this conversation with one of the leading consulting firms, and what they told me was the one of the challenges we are facing in this talent market is because a lot of the role definitions are archaic. They were saying most organizations haven't updated their role definitions and their job descriptions for over 5 years in certain cases. And then you realize, oh, I'm not getting the right talent, right? Or there's a misalignment between people's growth aspiration and what the role requires. So one of the things we do realize is that there's this delta that is there, and it's very hard to do it at scale, right? We were talking about providers tracking almost 6,000 to 8,000 skills. It's a massive space, right? That's where you need data, technology to kind of enable this. And Arpita, you and I have been kind of discussing a lot of this in terms of technology. And technology became a very key fulcrum of our discussion, which is how do I get data analytics technology in the L&D space? So definitely want to hear from you. And I think our audience would love it. I think all of those who are joining us today, all our friends who are joining us, they would definitely love this commentary from you, right? Is how are we helping data-driven decision making in workforce?
Definitely, Ronak. So, when it comes to tech provider ecosystem, we are seeing that tech platforms playing a very critical role in literally everything that we have talked about today across the talent value chain, be it attraction, acquisitions. For example, when it comes to acquisition, tech can make the process much more efficient for you, right? Through AI based skill matching exercise, screening of the profiles, having the right interviews, right? Sentiment analysis during the interviews, profile verification, having there are a lot of platforms out there who are organizing these hackathons that Amit mentioned previously in this conversation, right? Apart from that, when it comes to talent engagement, again, technology is playing a very critical role, right? How technology brings together to help you understand the current sentiment within the organization. We saw a lot of leading service providers investing in sentiment analysis for their current workforce. Another very important category of providers that we are seeing is workforce platforms, software providers that are building workforce visibility across your workforce supply chain, right? So these providers help you provide a very holistic view across your talent supply chain, be it the utilization rate currently within your organization, the current skill stack within your organization. And I think that kind of visibility is ultimately helping tech teams better prepare for uh, the demand that they can expect in the long run. And I would specifically want to talk about performance tracking and KPIs, right? Most of the mature workforce strategy teams are tracking holistic set of KPIs across the talent value chain to A, better capture the impact of ongoing initiatives, B, drive data driven workforce management strategies, and C, to stay agile and realign their strategies with changing market dynamics, right? And that's where some of the leading tech platform providers are making their mark in the ecosystem by providing this holistic visibility and performance matrix to workforce management leaders to drive effective utilization and ultimately contributing to growth and profitability of your organization.
And and Arpita, as you were kind of talking about this, we also got one comment which I wanted to highlight, right? So Naga's comment around technology platforms, and he mentioned a few platforms, right? Pluralsight, Udemy, and others. And I know a lot of these are already on your page as well, and some of these are amazing clients of ours as well. So I do see the technology landscape, right? The likes of Prism Force and others who are kind of bringing data and data-driven skills mapping to kind of drive this change is amazing, right? And again, I think these pieces of component of technology that you need to kind of drive this change is something which is really good. So thank you for sharing this. And again, it's an exciting space, right? Because I think when we did this assessment to where we are now, the number of providers in this ecosystem are growing. We are seeing a lot more new entrants who are bringing a very new thinking to talent and talent management, and using technology to kind of do that better. And for all of you who are joining us, we do have a complimentary abstract available for all of you. Lacey has already shared the link in the comment window, so we would want you to download the talent readiness for next generation IT services assessment. This would give you a quick view on what are we covering in terms of the scope of the assessment, the results, and how we are seeing the overall talent readiness becoming a critical issue when it comes to next gen IT talent, right? So we definitely wanted to make sure you have that. And Arpita, I think the point you mentioned around KPIs, I think for me that is getting even more important, right? Which is how do you track those? What are those KPIs? And as you see that, and as we start, talking about KPIs and talking about future of work and future of talent, one question that I am getting a lot from our clients is generative AI and the generative AI impact on workforce. And the other aspect of that is how the human and AI collaboration will happen. And definitely, a lot of these technologies bring unique risk and some challenges around it. We've already heard uh, challenges around people as they are kind of forecasting 5 years, 10 years from now, will these technologies take away some of this work? Will they be replacing people? But I think in the near term, as we are seeing the technology evolve, we are seeing this to be a productivity mandate, which is technology helping me do the work better. It's helping me drive throughput. It's helping me drive higher utilization rate. So the KPIs that Arpita you were talking about, we are seeing AI and generative AI specifically helping us in those areas. And specifically from an IT perspective, it is helping in synthetic data creation, synthetic test case creation, helping to do some bit of coding, document summarization, content generation pieces. So I think the mindset shift needs to happen is there is talent, which is IT talent, which we're talking about, and next gen IT talent specifically. And the other piece is how do you think that mindset shift from building the future of talent to building the future of talent that is empowered with generative AI, both from capability perspective to build, deploy, and use generative AI. So skills like prompt engineering, model training, model governance, and other pieces, but also generative AI embedded in the way we do our work. So we do believe this is going to be the skill that all of us will need to learn, which is how do we incorporate amazing technologies like generative AI. And it's very early days in the technology maturity, right? They're going to get way more matured. We know for a fact, given the investment that is there in this place. So as you think about that, use these technologies with that mindset that our work and our talent and our people will get empowered. They will be more productive by using these tools. And it's not about replacing like for like people. And this is where the productivity mandate comes in a lot more. And the last thing that I would say, which is I think my favorite topic, and I keep teasing Amit a lot about this because there's always been a generation gap that we talk about, and how do you, as new people enter into the workforce, how do you integrate them? They are a purpose driven people that we are starting to have, right? They are one who want to make a difference. They are the ones who want to make a change. They want to grow much faster. They have very different aspirations from the work and the workplace, and they are interested in how are you bringing the best of data driven skills, AI and others to make their lives better, help them grow their careers faster. So that integration of Gen Z at workplace is going to be important. So I'm learning a lot of the new lingo so that I can talk to the Gen Zs in my team. But at the same time, I think a lot of this is important as we think about that. So Arpita, any closing comments, remarks from your end as we talk about AI, as we talk about future of work?
Definitely, Ron. I think I'd like to end my part in this conversation with a very positive note. Like we can talk all about AI and robots and generative AI, but in the foreseeable future, technology teams are going to be people based teams. So people are the gist of the technology teams, technology service provider organizations, and how effectively service providers are able to build a purpose-led workforce that will define uh, the success for these organizations in the near future.
That's a powerful thought process. Amit, anything on the Gen Z piece that we are missing that we should be talking about?
Uh, Actually, you covered it almost most of the thing from the Gen Z aspect. But what I would like to say that this is the time we need to think differently. We can't like millennials, Gen Z are pretty much different in terms of their thought process. So we need to articulate, we need to calibrate our strategy to integrate them at the workplace.
Thank you. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Please leave us a comment in terms of what you found interesting, what would you want to hear more from us, and what all do you would you want us to kind of do research on from a talent readiness perspective. So we want to keep the conversation going. Reach out to Arpita, Amit, or myself to talk more about talent readiness, the future of work, and how we are seeing that progress as we look at it. And definitely, this is a start of the talent readiness research for us. We are just into the second iteration of it. We're going to do a lot more of it this year. So stay tuned for that. How we talk about talent readiness for AI, talent readiness for data, talent readiness for cloud, talent readiness for applications and modernization. So we are really, all ready and eager to kind of, jump into it. So we are excited about how the year will shape up. The talent market is dynamic, it's ever changing, and we are here with the right data and insights to help all of you. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.